Welcome to this Quick Take Rapid Learning module. Today's topic, Framing the Sale, the Power of Loss Aversion. If you happen to sell a product like home security systems or insurance, fear of loss is obviously a powerful incentive to buy. What's less obvious is that the fear of losing something, termed loss aversion by psychologists, can play a key role in just about any sale. In this quick take, you will learn the powerful conclusion of a study on loss aversion, the dramatic differences in the ways that people calculate potential benefit versus potential loss, and how to add power to your value proposition by reframing it around loss aversion. Everybody loves to win, but a far more powerful motivator is to avoid loss. In fact, countless studies confirm that people will be more motivated to take action to avert a loss than to secure an equivalent gain. For example, gamblers are more likely to keep betting if they're in the hole because they're trying to recoup their losses. Investors tend to hold on to stocks that have lost value in hopes that they'll go back up. Loss aversion is a highly emotional and often unconscious factor in decision-making. People don't sit down and calmly weigh risks and benefits. They go with their gut. But here's the good news. As a salesperson, you can improve your chances of making a sale simply by changing the way the buyer frames the decision. To see the power of this framing, consider this hypothetical example. I give you $100. Now you have a choice to make. 1, you can keep $50. 2, or we can flip a coin. Heads, you get to keep the whole $100. Tails, you get nothing. So, what would you do? Go with the sure thing or take the gamble? When researchers from the University College of London did a similar experiment, it turned out that the answer depended on the way the sure thing is framed. When it was framed as a sure gain, you can keep $50, most people played it safe. They took the money. But what if we flip the language? What if we say you can give up $50 or you can flip a coin and possibly keep the entire $100? When the sure thing was framed this way, as a sure loss, most people chose to flip the coin. They were willing to take a chance in order to potentially avoid the loss. Here's why these and similar experiments have powerful implications for salespeople. Most of us have been trained to sell benefits. We assume our value proposition is most persuasive when we show people the gains they'll realize when they buy our products. But this study suggests that if you flip the language, if you instead present your value proposition as a way to potentially avoid loss, buyers will be more willing to take a chance on you and what you sell. So, just as in the experiment, you want to frame the buyer's decision as the following choice. 1, if you do nothing, you will surely lose. 2, if you take action now, you might avoid some or all of that loss. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're selling production machinery. Your prospect is using outdated equipment. Your new equipment is far more efficient. If you were to frame your value proposition as a realized gain, you might say, invest $150,000 in our equipment, and over 5 years you could add $1 million to your bottom line. With that approach, you'll often get a defense of the status quo. Well, that sounds great, the buyer says, but a lot can happen in 5 years. We might not get those gains, and then I'd look bad to my boss. Or the buyer might accept the value proposition but lack urgency to act. Cash flow is tight, the buyer apologetically explains. We still want to do it, of course, as soon as we have the money. The alternative is to frame your value proposition in terms of avoiding loss. For example, you might say, if you do nothing, you'll lose $1 million over the next 5 years. If you invest $150,000 in new equipment, you can prevent that loss. Now the buyer feels a greater sense of urgency to avoid that loss, and you increase your chances of getting the buyer to do the right thing, abandon a status quo position where they're tolerating poor performance and losing money. Let's review what we've learned today. Buyers are more likely to take action to avert a loss than to realize a gain. So, to give your value equation extra power, offer buyers 2 options. 1, do nothing and suffer a sure loss. Or 2, buy from us and potentially avoid some or all of that loss. Thanks for watching. Now return to the program page and take the quiz. Also, please take 15 seconds to click on the survey link and fill out an evaluation of this program.